Back when I was a kid, all the cool people had a pool. We've got an expert here to talk about it. Stay tuned, everybody. Welcome, everyone, to Your Little Castle Show here on ABC in St. Louis, Missouri. We're going into our 5th year. We're starting our 5th year here, talking to the leaders in our community who are helping to make this little plant the great little place that it is. Small business owners, I think, are the ones who contribute the most. There's a lot of big guys out there, and we love those guys. I'm probably going to upset some potential sponsors, but I've had fun helping small businesses. Parents had a learning center for kids, and I saw what they did to compete with the big guys. It was tough, but we want to give a leg up to the smaller businesses because that's who I've been working with for a long time. And this whole internet thing has changed the way things are done. But we've got an expert here. Check out we're going to show all kinds of cool pictures of it. But Joe Worthy, he's the owner, founder, Worthy Pools. You've been doing this for 30 plus years. You got your own company now going into your 6th year, right?
Yes, sir.
And pools, man. Like I said, everybody was, the cool people had a pool in our neighborhood. We go, oh, we have to go down to Joey's house. Joey D, we'll say his before I say his last name, but Joey had a pool, and we would get to hang out there 3 or 4 times a summer. They'd let us come down, but the cool people had pools, and it seems like is it still a good investment? It depends on the property values and everything going on with that, but generally, if you want a pool and they've got it, then it helps people make a decision.
Definitely.
If you have
most
a pool.
definitely, yeah. No, it's a great industry to be in. One thing that I've always loved about this industry is we sell fun.
We sell fun.
We sell fun. We sell memories. When you start off in a backyard and it's just an open slate, it's just green or concrete or whatever their whatever a potential backyard could be. It could be a huge hill.
Right.
We put pools in hillsides all the time.
Really?
It makes it a little more unique and a little more cumbersome during the construction process, but it can be done.
Yeah.
Pretty much anything can be done in most backyards. But yeah, it's what I tell all my clients is, look, we want you to have the best possible product for your money, and want you to make memories. I don't want you to have to. You're not here to buy a pool to work on it all the time. You're here to buy a pool, like you said. You want all the kids come over, everybody to have fun, see smiles, see laughter, see enjoyment, whether it be the kids or the adults or all people. It's every pool's for everyone.
I remember, like I said, we would go down to Joey's pool every once in a while. He had a diving board, the deep end. I said the deep end's not as popular these days for a number of reasons, but with that, we'll give a shout out Carroll House Furniture, because you like nice things in your little castle. And your little castle just may have a pool put together here by Worthy Pools. And everybody is building their own little castle, so why not have a castle with a pool? And with that, we've got your Facebook on the wall over there, and then here's a pretty good looking website, guys. You want to see a lot of pictures, they're all available up here. We're going to show you that, and on the Facebook page too. But I like just letting that scroll behind us. You've got waterfalls and oval and all kinds of shapes and sizes, and boy, getting a pool, I remember, man, that was the cool people always had the pool. So with 30 years of experience, where did you get started at this? Was this, you started off in maintenance, or where did you start? And then tell me how you landed where you're at.
Yeah, so kind of a little bit about us and me. I started off when I was 16 years old. A buddy of mine asked me, hey, do you want to, sit next to a pool as a summer job and scout out the hot chicks?
Right.
I said, sure, why not? I was 16 years old. What boy didn't want to do that?
Right.
So we started off doing that. Did that for 3 or 4 years.
Was that as a lifeguard then?
As a lifeguard, yes,
right.
sir.
I've been there. I was a lifeguard too, everybody.
So
we did it to keep everybody safe.
Exactly.
That's why we were there.
Right. Correct. Actually, I did do a save once.
Right, okay.
But yeah, no. So we started off as a lifeguard. Prospered and showed progress there to the management company that I was contracted. I had a contract with as doing the lifeguard, and they were they're still a pretty predominant service company here in St. Louis. And they asked me, hey, do you want to come and help us do maintenance, do cleanings, things like that? So I did that. I said, sure, why not? I, just getting out of high school, still a great summer job, and continued to do that for 4 or 5 years, coming up through the ranks. I ended up being one of their technical individuals, running crews and things like that. Left that company, went to another company, doing this, kind of not running their service department, but heading their technical side of things. And this is in the early 2000s when a lot of the newer technology that we utilize in pools just started to come about. And I showed a specific talent for that side of the business. So they wanted me to kind of be in charge of it and kind of run it. Worked for that company for a number of years. They're no longer around, unfortunately. But after I left there, I went into the distribution side of this industry, and I worked for one of the major distributors in town. Pretty much everybody who does pools buys something from them, and grew and blossomed in that company. Worked there for 12 years, but kind of started getting tired of being in the corporate life. I was managing one of their facilities, and it just, I was like, I don't see the smiles anymore. I don't see the love. I don't see the fun. Yes, I'm still selling the products, but I don't get to see the end results. I don't get to see, the people and, having the fun and enjoying and everything. So I decided, you know what? It's COVID, where, there's a lot of pool companies out there that are completely booked. There's, other people coming into the industry that may or may not should or shouldn't be in the industry, and the ones that shouldn't are gone now. And so I opened my company and started building pools. And one of the free forms with a waterfall and the pictures here behind us is the first pool I built. Not this one here, this one here. It's the first pool I ever built. And still talk to that client, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. So one of our big things with my company is communication. It's being communicative to the client. Reaching their needs. Customer service is a huge background for me. I was always one that I wanted to make sure that the homeowner was happy, whether I was cleaning their pool, repairing something at their pool, or just talking about their pool, just having a conversation. I wanted to make sure that they knew what they were getting, that they were happy with their choices, and try to steer them. When we're in the consultation phases and the deliberation phases, what I offer suggestions and advice of what products to use and the benefits and the pros and the cons. Versus the different types of pools. There's 3 different types. There's vinyl, fiberglass, and gunite.
So it seems like there's a lot of options.
There are a lot of options.
Saltwater versus freshwater.
Saltwater, freshwater.
But jump back to me a little bit. What are the different types? Gunite, you said?
Yeah. So a gunite pool or a shotcrete pool. It's your plaster pools.
Okay.
They're the more they're the more expensive pools typically. They have a substructure. We do excavation, then we create a rebar cage to hold that concrete or gunite material, which creates the overall envelope of the pool and the structure of the pool. We do that. It's always on 10 to 12 inch thicknesses. Our rebar cages are always at 8 inch on center. So you're getting, with our product, you're getting, the best product possible. We're making it very thick and durable and strong. We're making sure that that structural cage with the rebar is top notch. You know, we're not using stuff that's been sitting around for years and months, just corroding away. You know, we use all fresh product. You know, and then the plaster goes on, your coping, your tile, you know, and whatever other, you know, whatever you choose for your decking, whether it be pavers or concrete or porcelain or astroturf, or even just grass up to it. There's a lot of different choices, a lot of different thoughts that have to go into putting in a pool. You know, we make sure our elevations are right. We make sure that, you know we need the pool to hit, you know, where the existing patio is, or if we're, you know, matching up to a garage or a home, making sure that we're not creating a problem for the homeowner later. The issue with a lot of these companies that have come and gone, or they're not attentive to detail. You know, you have to think about all these other steps before that first bucket goes in the ground. Just because, you know, it's all about preparation.
How long does it typically take to install a pool? I guess it depends on the type. If you're going to do that construction, I realize 8-inch, like a normal house has 16-inch studs. You're doing every 8 inches. You've got some rebar support. That's a lot more labor intensive, I guess.
Correct.
Your fiberglass, and then the other type.
And the vinyl.
Vinyl liner, okay. And
Yeah.
give me a little bit about the installation for each one of those.
Yeah. So typically, I mean, there's companies out there that'll tell you they can have a pool in a week, and it's possible, yes. They could do great work. You know, you have other people that, you know, they'll take months and months to build a pool, and that's great. You know, if they're doing it right and just going it slow and steady, you know, it depends on, they may not have the workforce. Typically for us, on a vinyl and a fiberglass, from the day that we stake out your pool and begin that process to the day that you get to start enjoying it is typically anywhere between a month to 2 months. And that, I mean, we're talking finished, this project here that's on the screen behind us. You know, on a gunite, it takes a little bit longer for us, just because we allow that concrete to fully cure, you know, the shotcrete of the gunite. We give that a full 30-day cure cycle before we start doing any additional work on the pool body itself. You know, we want that. We don't want any issues from hydration or effervescence on the shell or the plaster. When we do a gunite pool and we do the plaster, you know, there's a 30-day startup procedure that has to be done on brand new plaster. You know, it's a tedious process, but it has to be done to make sure that your product holds up over time and it looks the best that it can.
What is the range for pools with regard to cost? I mean, what's the least lower end? What do you?
I mean, you know, in your vinyl and fiberglass, I mean, you know, really we start off about, you know, between 70 and 80, okay, typically, for a you know, a nice pool. You know, and you know, we have bids out there that are upwards of, you know, $750,000. You know, I mean, there's a lot of variation. You know, those $750,000. I mean, you're talking, you know, you got huge waterfall structures. You know, slides, and I mean, there's so many different things. I mean, and there's pools out there that, I mean, you know, I know of pools that are built in St. Louis that are over $1 million, just the pool alone.
Wow.
So I mean, it all depends on the homeowner's budget, where they want to go. You know, we've tried to feel that we are cost effective in all our practices, so we can give the best possible price to our client. You know, I don't ever pretend to say that I'm going to be the cheapest guy on the block, because I'm not, but I'm also not going to be the most expensive guy on the block either. But the product we're going to put in for you is going to be worth the money you spend. You know, a big thing I'll also tell my clients is, you know, I'm not going to ask you to spend your money on something that I wouldn't spend on myself.
Well said, and it's, these are nice investment that makes that house, gives it everything. I mean, my debate has been for years: do I have a boat, or do I have a pool? And by the time you add up what a boat costs you, when you get the storage and you get the slips and the maintenance and the cost of the boat, maybe it's a better investment to have a pool.
Right.
Because there's so much more that you get there. You got a lot of great reviews. I'm going to put this up on the wall for everybody. I checked you out there. All 5s. This is kind of got to make you feel good. A long list of reviews here. Tell me, when you see some of these reviews, what does it make you feel like when you've got people? I mean, you're gaining the respect here because you've got all 5-star reviews. Tell me what it makes you feel like here. I'm gonna just jump on. I'll just grab one. I'm gonna scroll down here.
Yeah.
My pool was trash. New concrete liner, vinyl. Joe and his team came in and did a beautiful job. They gave about a 30-minute window before arriving. I cannot recommend them enough. Very polite. And it looks like you took somebody's pool area. They've got before and after pictures there.
Oh yeah.
And
it's something else.
They that gives you some idea what you can turn a pool into. That's beautiful right there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. No.
Is that the case? Sometimes people have a pool, but you've got to come in and reconstruct it. Or
So there's some pools around St. Louis that just people have, whether it's family members are aging and they don't want to open the pool anymore. They don't want to deal with it anymore, and that's understandable. You put it in for kids and grandkids, and you want this fun and this, and maybe the homeowner starts getting up there in age, and they don't want to deal with it anymore, and they just kind of forget about it, let it go, or maybe somebody, the house gets foreclosed on, God forbid, and the pool can go to something like that that you just saw on the screen there. We can come in, and whether it's a complete removal and replacement or a renovation, that pool there was actually a renovation. We actually salvaged, all of the structure of that pool. We had a few issues underground with plumbing, but the surface on it was just completely shot. We just came in, removed all the old material, put in all new, and left them with a beautiful blue pool.
Yeah, they were very happy. I'll pull that back up here now that we're talking about some more. But yeah, that's a good-looking pool, everybody. If you want to talk about that beautiful finish right there. And by now, another buddy of mine whose name happens to be Joe, we always go to his house for the pool parties. And he replaced the liner too. He had an older pool, and he's put a new vinyl liner in it. He made it look like new. I didn't realize
Exactly.
it. They looked at it really close. You're like, oh, they did. But another way to revitalize these things if the structure was there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, vinyl and gunnites are great for that purpose. If tastes change over time, you can remove that old surface and put in something new, something fresh. There's some patterns out there nowadays that are very artistic in nature, and they look beautiful. And then there's still the tried and true, blue and speckly prints on liners and plasters, or there's incorporating glass in plaster nowadays a lot. A lot of different options. I have this here. I can pull up real quick. Just kind of give some of the options of what's out there. This one's it's called a micro.
Hold it up over like right there. There you go.
It's called a micro pebble Puerto Rico blend. So it's got a lot of nice, beautiful colors within it. And it's nothing too intrusive. And it's got some of the shinier aggregates in it to give the pool a lot more pop versus just your basic. Back in, way back when, and when the pools were just a white plaster. Now there's a lot of different color options, a lot of different things that you can do. And let's say same way with the vinyl liners is, you can completely change the whole look of a backyard by just putting in a new surface, whether that be a vinyl liner or a new plaster.
Joe did his homework. He's got a bunch of other examples here. Going to use some of the models and other exciting. We're going to off some of his website. We're over our normal time frame here, but we'll catch up. Stay tuned. We're going to show you a little bit of the fun we had out in the community. We're interviewing Babe Ruth's grandson here. Check this out.
Hello, everybody. Carter Ruth with Tom Stevens. Babe Ruth's grandson came here to the Browns' 41st dinner for the St. Louis Browns Association. Tell me then, if you don't mind, Tom, I'm going to put my clip on you here. What does it mean what does Babe's legacy for baseball mean to you?
Wow, it's everything to me, really. As I mentioned in my remarks, there's never been a time that Babe was not a part of my life in some form. And now that I'm retired, I benefited so much throughout my life through my relationship with him, the experiences that we've had, that now I kind of want to pay it back and just try and spread the gospel of Babe Ruth wherever I go.
Well, we have it right here. If you want to find out more information, Babe Ruth Central, that's the website that's dedicated to Babe and shares his legacy.
It is.
Awesome. John Goodman.
Hey, we're looking for the small business owners and leaders in our community to be on our show. This is the Your Little Castle show. We air 3 times a week, every week on ABC, and we would like to put somebody you know, or maybe it's you, who's a business owner, to be on our show. You'll sit right here in our guest chair, right here, sitting here talking to us. We're going to put on the wall your website and everything about you, and highlight you as a leader. Fill out the form you see here on our website. It's bigleagues.com, and if you go to bigleagues.com, fill out this form. Takes just a couple seconds, and you can even schedule yourself right here. Schedule yourself to be on the show, and there is no charge for us to record you. There's no charge to be in the studio. Check it out if you would like to be on. Fill out the form again, bigleagues.com. This is where we can turn any interview into a series of clips. Check that out. Go to bigleagues.com. So some of the fun we get to partake in the community, that was neat down at the Missouri Athletic Club. My buddy Ed Wheatley, we need to have Ed on again. We'll have him on before the Cardinal season. He runs the Browns Historical Society and really well connected with the Cardinals. I got to meet with Chaim Bloom a while back when he had just been announced as the new Cardinals President of Operations. They generally call it GM, but the Cardinals call it President of Operations. But tell me then, give me that cost analysis. We talked a little bit about the cost early in the first half of the show. Check that out, everybody. If you want to rewind, you can do that on our YouTube after this is recorded. After it airs, you'll see that. But the question I had is, how many people are the do-it-yourselfers? You got the guy that says, "Oh yeah, I could dig a ditch. I could throw down some cement, and in a few weeks I'll have a pool."
Yeah, there are those guys out there, and they may or may not do a great product, and great job. Typically, we steer away from the people that offer up to do work for themselves to cheapen the product. You never know what could happen and what could arise. I've had potential clients say, "Hey, I have an excavator. I could dig it." I tell them I understand. Yeah, you can be a great operator and things like that, but there's certain points that the technical aspect that professionals like myself know that a typical homeowner or somebody who's even in the trades may or may not know. Maybe he's a plumber, maybe he's an electrician. We hire all of them to work with us on our projects. But it's typically what I tell those people is, you're in the business of your business, and you're wanting this product. Hire somebody in that business.
Yeah, I say
to do the project.
Not the place we talk about that. Don't cut corners, everybody. Especially when you're talking about a $50,000 pool that lasts 2 years versus 20, 30, 40 years. Is that the normal
Correct.
lifespan? And now you're replacing something in a whole lot of extra money blown there.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made a difference. What sets you apart, though? What do you think? I mean, given the whole background you got, the history you've got some big advantages over some competitors. What do you think that really separates you guys from the rest?
Kind of like what we talked about a little bit earlier. My strive for customer service, strive for communication. Like in that review said, we always give a half hour ahead. We always let people know we're coming. They may or may not know. Day before, week before. Hey, we're going to get ready to start your project. Here's the things we're going to be doing. Our processes for the next week or the next day or whatever it may be. Something, if we're doing a small thing like just doing a liner replacement, it's just a few days of work in the grand scheme of things. Or building a brand new pool. We're going to be in your backyard for months, or weeks or months. And I want you to know what's going on. You know, it's your home, it's your property. You should have every right to know what's happening in and around it.
Yeah, see, and the results speak for themselves. So you've got quite a bit to share there. Any specific certifications you guys have to? I'm sure insurance is a big deal. You're also pulling permits very often, talking with the government to make sure that the local municipalities are happy with what you're building.
Definitely. No, so we are a part of PHTA. It's one of the governing bodies of the industry. They're there to help us out as well as make sure we're doing the right things. We always within the communities and counties that we work in, we have contractor licenses. Obviously, we're very well insured. God forbid we ever have to use it. And are almost going into our 6th year. We've never had to touch anything with our insurance. Again, goes to the point that we treat your property as it was our own. We don't leave trash around. We don't just make a mess because we feel we can. I feel every time we're taking a scoop of dirt, we're thinking about, okay, where is it going? How's it getting out of here? And what's the least amount of destruction and havoc that could happen? Because it is, when you're getting into building a swimming pool, there is a lot of moving parts. We're taking out sometimes, 100 to 150,000 tons of dirt.
Yeah, you're uprooting somebody's backyard entirely.
Mm-hmm, correct. Yeah, we're changing your backyard from, just a green landscape to, what you see there. Everything has to be cleared. Everything has to be addressed. We start off, we come in and we level everything out. That way we know, again, where our elevation points are hitting, and we know that the pool is going to go in the right spot and how it's got to be there.
This is an important decision. If you're going to have a pool, you want to make sure you get it done right. What do you think some of the other benefits are? We advocate for small businesses. As a small business owner, you get to be very much more responsive. In this case, you're going to have very many times where there's a question that the owner may have. They don't need to go through 3 levels, 4 levels of communication. They can talk right to the owner. You often on the site yourself helping people. Correct.
Yeah. No, I'm usually on site, if not every day. I'm there multiple times throughout the week. Our office line is linked. We have a linkage up to where if I'm out in the field, that office line is getting directed out to me in the field as well. So any message that you send or leave for us, I'm going to see personally as the owner, and my office manager will see it as well. They will respond to you in a very timely fashion, typically within minutes of your message. We want to be there for you as a homeowner, because at the end of the day, you trusted us with your property and with your project, and we have to do our part to keep that trust between us.
We'll stick around for the second show. We're going to talk about the biggest mistake people make here, everybody. We're going to do another half hour here with our buddy Joe. Giddy up.